Producer Jack Deveau discovered Arch Brown and entrusted him with a surreal film which has been compared to the works of Jean-Luc Godard, Federico Fellini, Luis Buñuel, and Jean Cocteau. So what was The Night Before trying to tell us? In this episode, we're going to take a look at Arch Brown's The Night Before, a beautifully crafted film that was on Variety's 50 top grossing films list in the nation for 5 weeks. Not bad for a skin flick with a touch of magic. This is Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped to get off. Before we continue, please don't forget to help my channel and this audiovisual podcast by subscribing, clicking the like button, and selecting the bell icon so you can be notified every time I publish a new video. Also, leave a comment and let me know what you think. Written by director Arch Brown and his partner Bruce, The Night Before is an imaginative classic offering a funny, sweet, and at times bizarre take on new lovers, their emotion, and lust, all depicted in this surreal fantasy film. The Night Before begins with the director setting up the film with a series of pictures introducing us to neighbors in an apartment complex. Hank, our protagonist, played by Coke Hennessy, which sounds delicious. The first sound we get is a phone conversation, showing us Brown employed both sound and voiceovers in the film. Paul, a photographer in Central Park, takes pictures of his subject, reminiscent of Brown's everyday life. In fact, I'll preface that the entire film seems autobiographical after reading Brown's posthumously published autobiography. It's playful and innocent. While walking around the city, our protagonist Hank meets a messenger and a cyclist before literally running into Paul, who invites him to his apartment to watch him develop the film. And then we get it, the first glimpse of harsh reality in the film. Photos of beautiful men and women in various sexual and non-sexual poses adorn Paul's apartment. After some conversation, we watch as Hank and Paul go throughout their day, working, visiting friends, grabbing coffee, and finally returning to Paul's place for an evening of smoke, wine, and fun.
Do you work?
No.
Do you want to work?
No, why should I?
But don't you get bored?
New York? No, never happened. There's too many people to meet. I figure if I met one person every day, it'd take me 250,000 years to know everybody in New York.
How many people you figure you have yet to meet?
Oh, a few.
So all you do is meet people. How do you eat?
Clever hands.
Their bedroom conversation reveals a way of life gone with the era they lived in. After sleeping over, Hank and Paul spend the next day together, and again roam the streets of New York and playing. The soundtrack is both haunting and hopeful. Hank wakes up at his apartment and again watches through his window, as we see Paul and the male subject Pete from the other day. All of a sudden, there's heavy breathing and a dirty, dirty voiceover, leading us into a visually surreal sexual experience. Hank is then on the street and begins to follow the messenger he ran into the other day. He follows him into a basement apartment where he is naked and ready for an encounter. Here we get our first interracial scene covered on DGP in a long time. Thank you, Arch Brown. After everything is said and done, Hank is left in the basement apartment when the messenger leaves without the package he was carrying. Hank runs after him and then finds himself on the roof, where he meets the cyclist he encountered the other day. The cyclist leads Hank to a window where he looks in and sees Paul with his other friend. Hank then climbs a water tower, looks into the water, and we are now in a room with Hank and Paul painting each other's bodies in one of the trippiest sex scenes yet. Then, in one of the most daring scenes, Hank is streaking through the piers of New York in public and into the back of a truck. He is given clothes by Tim, who we met earlier. The cyclist passes him again, as does Tim. Hank looks up and sees the messenger posing like a statue, before running into Tim again. Then, all of a sudden, there she is, the judgy woman in red from the beginning, and then a dance break. Hank sits down and opens the portrait he's been holding this entire time. A picture with the advocate sprawled across the top. We are now transported into the image we've seen before in Paul's apartment of two men spinning before an interpretive dance. Hank wraps the picture up, and the string, holding it all together, leads him through the park and into a building, where a man with a bow tie and apron, who we've seen before, takes off his clothes and leads him into a room with all of the men we've met throughout the movie. He pours champagne, and well, I'll let you analyze the rest yourself. Hank wakes up, and now we realize it was all a crazy dream. And just like our dreams sometimes, everyone Hank encounters in real life he sees in his dream, like the Wizard of Oz or something. But in this film, director Arch Brown weaves his depictions of lust, jealousy, paranoia, and insecurity. In an interview with Michael's Things, a section in Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Brown says he didn't intend for the film to be political. He wanted to make a good fuck film. The Night Before is a practice in surrealism on film, expertly put together by Arch Brown. You can probably get off to this film, but I wouldn't come to it for that purpose first. The Night Before is more an avant-garde piece masquerading as a porn film. It was Brown's first and only big-budget film, and we are glad to have it in the annals of gay porn history.
You've been watching Demystifying Gay Porn. I'm your host, Ike Grande. Demystifying Gay Porn is available on every podcast directory, as well as YouTube. Demystifying Gay Porn is on X, Instagram, Facebook, Telegram.
And if you like what you're watching or listening to and want to be a part of the creative process, head over to patreon.com/demystifyinggayporn, where you can help support this audiovisual podcast and YouTube channel, and I can continue making content like you've just enjoyed. Once again, this is Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped to get off. Cheers.